Now today what we're going to do is imagine broadening across the collarbones. And so the collarbones are part of the shoulder girdle. So you have the collarbone, the humerus, and then the scapula in the back. Those three bones make up the shoulder. Ideally layering on the rib breadth and then the side lengthening. Then I thought we would do this clavicular breathing, so collarbone breathing. And if you want to put your hands, fingertips, one side or both, on the notch where your clavicle is, either where it meets the sternum or right there, just where you can feel it. And eyes can be closed or open, but when you inhale, see if you can feel the collarbones coming away from the sternum. And then when you exhale, see if you can maintain that width as you resist. Yep, so, 8 to 10 total here, just really letting those collarbones open up, especially on the exhale. And then we can just release that. And then we'll move into the floor, kind of snow angels. So just very gently. Yep. We're in, kind of, how your body is and where there's restrictions. So not going past any pain, but just kind of exploring the range, warming up. Good. And you can keep going with that. And when you're ready, we'll move into those slides like we did on the wall during the test. Yep. And then when that feels good, let's find a bridge pose. Arms can be anywhere. They can be underneath your body, or they can be at the sides. But let's imagine the scapula coming together, and then again broaden across the collarbones. And we're going to make our way into table position. Yep. Making any adjustments. So we're going to go through the cat-cows, really emphasizing the scapula moving off the back when we flex into cat. And then on the inhale, really thinking about the scapula coming, broadening across the collarbones, sternum forward on the inhale. We'll come into a neutral spine and then do some scapular push-ups, so letting the chest, and then pushing up, 5 or so of those. And then gently release. We're going to come all the way down into the Sphinx pose. Yep, so elbows underneath the shoulders. You got it. And here we're just imagining the sternum forward and the collarbones broad. You got it. And if you want to add those big rib cage press, that's only going to help us. So we're going to move into a plank and really think about the scapula being stabilized on the ribs. And then let's just come forward into a sphinx on the inhale. And then exhale into the plank, super stable scapula. So just moving through a couple of those. And then when that feels complete, you can bend your knees and we'll eventually go downward facing dog. Yep, so here's your down dog. Yeah, you can move back and forth through the planks, any movement that feels appropriate. Maybe just explore the concept of the collarbones broadening even in this position. So letting the heart fall between the hands. And let the chest open up. Eventually we'll bring the feet to the hands, forward fold. Yep, kind of wiggle around here, settle. We'll inhale, halfway lift, and see if we can get the collarbones to shine forward, scapula on the back. Good. And when next exhale, fold. On on the inhale, we're gonna lead with the collarbones nice and bright up, reaching over the head. And then hands to the sides. So we'll just come into the chair pose here. Yep. Taking a second. All little adjustments. Ideally big breaths, scapular, nice and stable. Let's experiment with bringing our arms into cactus. See if the scapula can stabilize. And let's imagine shrug the shoulders to the ears and then pull the shoulders away from the ears, scapula down the back. There we go. Let's try to push the elbows away from each other. Front ribs are in. A couple more deep breaths here. Try to sit a little lower, still broad. Stay here. Then big inhale. The next exhale, we're going to fold forward. Yep. And then eventually, when you're ready, make our way arms overhead, standing. Good. And exhale, release. Awesome. So we're going to inhale, reach up, and then exhale, just open twist to the right. Broad collarbones, scapula together. Nice adjustments. Stay there for a breath or two. And then when you're ready, next inhale, coming up to center. And then on the exhale, yep, second side. Let's go one more time, each side on your own. Fantastic. Awesome. And then let's just forward fold. We'll step back to plank and then make our way to downward facing dog, any way you want. There we go. So see if we can broaden the hands so the pinkies are touching the outside. And then if we can imagine really broadening across, the armpits are kind of going back towards the hips, the triceps towards the hips, broad chest. A few more deep breaths, really pressing into the floor. See if that broadens the shoulders. And then we'll just inhale the right leg up. Kind of extend out. Yep, move around anyway. Ankle, hip. From here, we're just going to core lunge it in, so knee towards the nose, or really squeeze, pressing into the hands. Inhale, reaching it back. And then exhale, stepping through to the low lunge. And we'll just go ahead and press up. Go ahead and get into our nice crescent lunge. Yep, so just imagining. So whichever position with the hands helped broaden across the collarbones, just because that's what we're working on. So anyway, it can be cactus. We'll just inhale, reach up, find length. Exhale, fold. Left hand down, right arm up. Let's just take the twist. Awesome. Next exhale, folding it in again. And then just staying on this leg, we're going to press it up. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest. And then we're going to turn to the wall. Yep. Looking awesome. If you want to extend your arms out, tee them out. Yep. Sorry. It was hard to see, but just this revolve lunge. And then imagining real broad collarbones. Beautiful. Inhale back up to center. And then exhale, fold. And just stepping back. Plank, downward facing dog. Awesome. When you're ready, we'll go left leg up. Really extending. And then core lunge, knee to nose. Fantastic. And then re-extending. And then making the way through to the crescent lunge on this side. I also like to think of the collarbones as like a window, where we're opening the window and letting in the fresh air, getting the stale air out. And then we'll just reach it up, inhale nice and tall. Exhale with the length, taking it down to the low lunge. And then when you're ready, inhale the left arm up into the twist. Exhale, folding it in. And then coming back up, finding the crescent lunge. So setting it up so we're super, windows open. And here we go, turning it to the left. Awesome, very athletic for catching, whatever. So stay here as long as you want. Then eventually we'll come back up to the crescent lunge. Exhale, folding it in. And then just stepping back and making your way to downward facing dog. Awesome. Let's just go one more time. Right leg up. And then step through into crescent lunge. Press here, hands on the hips. And we're gonna go ahead and just ground down through the right foot and step up and balance. Awesome, looking super good. And then here we'll just inhale the arms up, and then exhale, we can rotate to the left. Right hand can go on the left knee, but really just taking the chance to open up. Gently coming back to center. We'll just with control, if you want to go through warrior 3, come back into our lunge legs. Here. Big inhale, and then exhale, just open it up again to the right. Looking really good. And we'll just inhale back to center. Exhale, fold, step back, plank, and then downward facing dog. You can move through any kind of flow. And then let's go left leg up. Yeah. And then stepping through, crescent lunge. Broad collarbones, yep. Fantastic. Then when you're ready, letting the collarbones lead, sternum up, let the sternum lead. You got it. Yep, so when you're ready, just gently releasing the twist, coming back to that single leg balance, coming through your warrior 3 into your lunge. I'm just saying these, and maybe that helps on the video. Then we're going to take the twist to the left. If you want, you can open up your arms. You don't have to. You can have your hands together just as long as we're opening up across the collarbones. Looks awesome. Gently, when you're ready, back to crescent lunge. Real big inhale, shine it up, fold it in on the exhale. And then we'll come back to plank and downward facing dog. Nice. All right, keeping it short, we're gonna come forward to plank, kind of press in here. Let's just go ahead and just tap the right knee to the right elbow, left knee, left elbow, right knee, left elbow, left knee, right elbow, and then lower to the belly. And we'll just come into the stretch part. So right arm out, coming in to this chest stretch. So taking it nice and easy here. Yep, that looks good. So we're imagining the scapula coming back together and broad across the chest. Let's kind of kick out through the right heel a little bit. Yeah, and through the crown of the head. Imagine one direct line from the heel to the crown of your head. But you can relax it down just so it's straight. The foot, is it up? Yeah. There you go. So releasing now, it's like from the active piece, we're really going straight into this cool down. Yep, switching sides. Always protecting the low back. And then in this position, trying to imagine the scapula coming together. Yeah, there we go, good adjustment. And the collarbones going away from the sternum. Yep. So gently come out of that, and eventually we're just gonna make our way back to a supine position where the session began, and kind of wiggling here, just notice anything. Eventually, right heel over the left knee. And let's just, again, like bring our awareness to the collarbones. See if the scapula can come down the ribs and the shoulders on the floor as much as possible. And let's try to keep that if it helps to put your hands there. And we'll go ahead and lift the left foot up. So we're going for the hip stretch on the right, but we really want to keep the, more than usual, keep the collarbones open with those rib breaths. It helps to push your right foot into the left knee for a little resistance. Move your hips around. And then if you want to go ahead and grab, if that helps, behind your left hamstring. Still trying to keep the collarbones broad. And we'll just, when you're ready, tap the left foot down and just kind of windshield wiper with this foot here, back and forth, just to give the hips a little love. So keeping the upper body still, collarbones broad, and then moving the hips. And we'll just gently release, move anyway, and making our way second side. So all the same things, left foot on the right knee, real broad across the collarbones, big rib breaths. That's good. We'll put that right foot down, leaving the collarbones broad, kind of glued to the floor as much as possible, the shoulders. Then a little gentle rocking side to side. And then we'll go ahead and hug the right knee in, left leg can go straight, and then take the right knee out, just to kind of get a little bit into the inner groin on the right leg. Again, here the collarbones, we want the shoulders to be down and not too much curve in the lower lumbar. And now let's go ahead and take the twist. Over the right leg, across the body, onto the left hip, left toes. Yep. So extending from the left heel to the crown of the head. There you go. Real broad across the collarbones. And then protecting the low back. And then if you want to get those rib breaths, 360. So this broadening across the collarbones helped optimize the breathing mechanics and respiratory efficiency, just helping the rib cage move more efficiently. It helps the shoulder girdle alignment, thoracic extension and spinal rotation, and repatterning. And the postural opening is very good for vagal tone enhancement. Yep, so working our way to the second side. Yep, taking your time. And then let's go ahead and, just like the beginning, take this position just to see if we can notice any difference. And then when you're ready, any other final wiggles, and we'll go ahead and have a Shavasana.